Hey guys, you're back with us here on VBuzz, and we are still speaking to Shankar Santhiram, who's a management consultant. And before we went on the break, he was speaking to us about staying motivated, connecting to your goals. That's what it's all about.
So the question is, setting up goals that are motivational so we can stay connected. Now, it sounds complicated, it's easy to say, but is it easy to execute?
It's not difficult, but it's like most things in life, it's process-based. So I did research as part of for the book and also with the work that I do as a management consultant, and often I get asked this question. It's nice, I get motivated, it's fantastic. You know, so you come, you talk to me, you get me all excited. When you're gone, I don't feel the same way. You know what I mean? After how do I keep?
High has gone, isn't it?
The high is always
that
gone.
Motivational thing which you have given me is gone.
Absolutely, it's gone. And we need to learn. All of us individually need to learn how to reconnect to that motivation all the time. And in the 1960s, it's pioneering research that came out in the 1960s. A guy called Edwin Locke, who was a researcher, came up with a theory called the task motivation and incentive. He called it task motivation and incentives. And he said that if you don't set goals, the research showed that if you don't set goals which are specific and if they're not difficult, it's really strange. Your goals actually need to be specific, but they also need to be quite tough. They need to be hard.
They need to challenge you.
They need to challenge you, and if they challenge you, then you rise up to the occasion. They don't challenge you, it becomes very, very difficult. Edwin Locke went together with another researcher called Gary Latham in 1990 and wrote a book actually called, I think the book is called A Theory of Goal Setting and Task Performance. And they reinforced the idea, and they came up with 5 steps. They said, number 1, 5 principles, they called it. Number clarity. Goal needs to be clear. Right? Number 2, challenge. Number 3, commitment. You must learn to commit yourself to a particular goal. Number 4, feedback. And number 5, task complexity. You know, so these are the 5 things that.
Let's focus on the first 2. You know, clarity and challenge. How do they help us with staying motivated and connected to our
Like I said earlier, I want to be rich. What's that? Do you know what I mean? How clear is that? Do you know? If you go to an athlete and tell the athlete, you know, hey, run faster. You've got to run faster. Do you know what I mean? Can you run faster? That becomes a very ambiguous. What does run faster mean? Yeah, how much faster? Yeah. So if you tell the guy, you know, you've done 12 seconds right now. How about we work on getting you down to 11 point, you know, whatever. Let's work on a specific goal, right? So I want to lose weight. Don't say I want to lose weight. Specifically, tell yourself how many kilograms you want to lose over a period of how long, which then can be worked backwards. Engineers, scientists,
specific bullseye.
I think that's one of the easiest things to do. I mean, if you get in a car and say, I want to go on holiday, and you don't sit in your car, look around your family and go like, wait, in the car, let's go on holiday. You know? And then go like, where are we going? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? You can't do that because then you'll be sitting in the car going, oh my God, I have no idea where to go. And one of our biggest problems all the time with living is when you have a partner, if you have a wife or a spouse or a boyfriend, girlfriend, how difficult is it to decide on where to go for dinner?
Yeah, that's usually the case, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
And my wife has got a fantastic. My wife is extremely easy. So where would you like to go for dinner? And her answer always is anywhere.
Okay.
Right? Then I will choose a specific place, and she'll say no. So I have had this discussion with her repeatedly over the years. I know I'm going to be in trouble for saying this on air.
Oh no, we're already in trouble. You must understand.
But this is it. So you know what I do now? Now I make a decision where I'd like to go. But, you know, I give her 3 options. I give her 2 bad options and the option that I like. Then she chooses the right option, which is my option as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So if when you, as even simple things like going out for a meal, if you are, you know, if there is no clarity, you end up going to places you don't like.
Is that a challenge bit, though, the next step?
Yeah, the challenge is the next part because, you know, the challenge is really interesting, right? Everyone is motivated by success. You know, you do what you do, you repeatedly do it because it gives you a certain buzz, you know, in order for you to do certain things, right? To continue to do that. And that's why people always say success is the greatest motivator. You know, if you keep doing something well, as you get better at it, when someone comes and pats you in the back and says, you know, you should do this and you know, you're the go-to person, you know, you're my go-to guy. The reason is because, you know, if I give it to you, you always get it done. Now that, for example, is a great motivation, and that comes with challenge. And the more difficult the challenge is, and you rise up to those challenges, and when you achieve results based on a particular challenge that you set yourself, the better you feel. And these are the 2 things that the researchers, you know, Locke and Latham, when they wrote the book, they came up and said, this is it, man. These are the first 2 things that you get. If you get clarity, which means you're specific in what you want, and you know exactly, and, you know, that people use the acronym. I'm sure you've heard it when you've gone for training programs and stuff like that. The SMART goals. Set up SMART goals. And I always find that a bit kind of, smart cliche. You know what I mean? But I always found it really cliche. I would sit in training programs with other people and go like, come on, tell me something I don't know. But the first two were SMART, SM, it's specific and measurable. And I find that that's fantastic, because if you actually set yourself goals which are specific and you're able to measure them, that gives you the kind of motivation to carry on all the time.
It's real talk right here on Vibas with Shankar Santhiram. Right?
And we strayed into marriage and all that stuff. But
yeah.
Commitment, feedback, and
You've got to be committed to your marriage, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was about to say task complexity also relates to marriage, as well as, keeping motivated with regards to your goals.
See, commitment with your marriage, right? I can say what I'm saying right now because I know she's not going to leave me because I've just said that. She might, but I know she might threaten, but but it'll be all right because the commitment is there. Goal commitment and difficulty often work together. Okay. Right? The more complex your goal is and the more you get connected with it, the more you want to do things.
Yes.
The greatest, they always say, right, achievement is the greatest revenge. When you get upset with people and, if you fail in business and stuff, like walk away, don't fight, but, become successful. And often you find that if you get fired in a particular job for reasons that you are not happy about, or you think, this is unfair that somebody did this to me, you'll go to your next job and you'll want to go like, I'm going to make this work. Okay? I'm going to show those guys that they let football players do this, right? They get dumped by one particular team. The very next season, they go and become a star player somewhere else, and then secretly they're going like...
and that same team wants them back.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that happens, and that's because that's the difficulty of rising above your own kind of misgivings. Say, for example, we go back to the football analogy. You've done badly, you come. You're Angel Di Maria, you come to Manchester United, you don't do well, you then go to PSG, and it becomes really important for you now to show that that one season was, in fact, just a blip in my otherwise sterling career. And that task becomes harder now.
Yeah.
And the real fabulous football players actually do that. They rise above and they up the ante, up the game. And that's because the challenge is greater right now.
But that you can relate to anybody in any form of life.
Any form of life, whether it's football or whether it's your marriage or whether it's your work commitments and so on.
And everything.
Yeah, feedback and task complexity are the other two things. You want to be able to get feedback from people because feedback helps you move forward. Driving from Kuala Lumpur to Penang is 345 kilometers. The reason why we have milestones along the way or kilometer markers is because every time we drive, a 2.5, 3 hour drive can be completely pointless and boring and tedious and just humdrum if you don't see those markers. As you go like it's getting closer and closer and closer. Are we there yet? Right? And many of us also tie up our journeys if we don't actually have a meeting to go to. We need to get to Penang, right? So I work in Penang often. I'm from there originally, so I go back often. And I know when I'm driving for work, it's a different, or if I'm, I usually fly when I'm going to work because I'm not interested in taking a laborious kind of tedious road. I want to get there, get my job done and come back. When I'm going on holiday, if I'm going for a long weekend, it's a complete different drive altogether because my entire journey will be planned along different milestones. We'll be stopping in Bido to have some noodles here, stopping at Shankar to buy to buy durian somewhere else or going somewhere else along the way, going to my favorite Sami restaurant somewhere in whatever, eating that and moving along. So those become your feedback mechanisms. So when you reach there, I'm there already. Okay. So in life also you need to create those kinds of feedback mechanisms. And task complexity, give someone a difficult task and reward them for the difficulty, you'll find that they will actually perform much better.
Okay.
And as they unravel, and self-mastery is one of the greatest motivators, when as I said earlier, right, when you know that you're good at something and people come to you, the go-to guy, then you keep doing it well. You keep on doing it well. Success begets success.
Keeps you motivated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Now, earlier on you were talking about connecting your goals to sort of a higher priority. Is this higher priority, can it be considered life goals?
Yeah, very dangerous to think about goals in terms of your life goals. I mean, I'm in my mid-40s. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 45 years old right now, and I've never really thought about life goals. Okay. I have overarching goals that I want in my life, right? And I want my life to be relevant. I'll give you a simple example, right? I don't know when I want to retire. I don't know if I do want to retire. I'd like to be like President Kalam, die while giving a speech.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's a fantastic way, a real monument, a real testament to his commitment to...
He died what he loved doing.
Yes, at the age of 84, talking to students. I mean, We miss him because
Empowering
great man.
people,
Yeah,
yeah.
empowering people where he just passed away last night. It was just such poetic justice that he went that way, the best way possible for him. For example, I don't think he would have had this kind of, thought in his mind.
Yeah.
This is how, nobody thinks about those kinds of things, right? But all of us have certain things that we'd like in our life. We want to be relevant. We want to be successful. We want to have a certain lifestyle, certain life. And like for me, I think I go back to, I don't know whether you guys have, I'm sure you've heard of this, the Chicken Soup series.
Yep.
Right? So Jack Canfield wrote the Chicken Soup series, right? And he gives an example, he gives an American example, maybe I'll localize it for us, right? So if we get into a car in Bukit Kayu Hitam at the border of Thailand and Malaysia, and we have to drive to Singapore or Johor Bahru, it takes about 7-8 hours.
Yep.
With a couple of breaks, it'll probably take us about 8 hours. So which means if you get in your car at 9 o'clock at night, you should get to Singapore, or Johor Bahru, the border on the other side, by about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. No problem, no sweat, you can do that, right? But if you get into your car, you turn your engine on, your headlights don't work. What's the deal?
Yeah.
Right? You're not going to be able to do that in 8 hours.
Yeah.
But with your headlights on, are you able to sit in your car, turn the light on and see Singapore? You can't. You can see only 100 meters or 50 meters, 100 meters, I don't know how far you can see in front of a car. Right? That's all you can see, but you see it just in this depth
Just
only.
enough to get
Just
there.
enough to keep moving all the time. And I think goals need to be set like that. So overarching goals are important. The overarching goal is to know that you want to sit in the car in Bukit Kayu Hitam and go to Johor Bahru.
Okay.
That's the goal. Right? Now, how you get there, see 100 meters in front of you, that's enough. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
So it's basically knowing what your end point is, but building your way all the way till there, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the best way to set goals up. And that's why a lot of people fail with goals, because they have these phenomenal goals that take 30 years to achieve. And then by the time you're, 2 years into the goal, and also realize that we get, we are constantly getting information, we're constantly getting feedback from things around us, that our goals also change along the way. When I was 25, I had a different goal. At 45, I have a complete different goal. To be honest. So can you imagine if I set up a goal at the age of 25 that this is this is all I'm going to do all my life? No, I mean, I went to study law. I came back with a law degree. I didn't practice law. I moved on to teaching. I then moved on to something else. Now I have multiple business interests simply because I'm constantly changing my goals. I like this. But the overarching goal is I need to be relevant. So every business I get involved in and everything that I do has to be like the comedy business that I'm in. It's about being relevant.
Yeah,
That's it.
Very true.
And there you go, all of your goals eventually leading to Vibas. And, we've got a monthly date with you,
right.
So we'll see Shankar again next month, where we'll still be speaking about our goals and how to develop ourselves further. Thank you so much for speaking
Pleasure.
to us
Always.
today.
But yes, tomorrow, Cybercare Youth Organization is here to talk about their efforts to empower young minds.
It's all about empowering the young minds. Thank you for pointing to me, yes. And the founder of the Yellow House KL is here to share how her home is now a sanctuary of hope.
Music entrepreneur and philanthropist Derek Sivers shares his views on TEDx KL in Motivate, Activate.
Brilliant. And in Spotlight, we bring you an exclusive interview with Dr. Mahalakshmi Arjunan, Executive Director of the Malaysian Biotechnology Information Centre. Very exciting stuff right there.
Hey, don't forget, email us, vivas@astro.com. We'd love to hear from you. Keep it coming. Until the next time, I'm Roshan and this is Jay. Bye-bye.
Good night.